Pleasure in welcoming the Honorable Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa in our midst. And thank you, Honorable Deputy President, for availing yourself. We really appreciate it, and we're glad that you are back to health and that you could be here with us. Thank you very much. Honorable delegates, I would like to remind delegates that the rules, in particular rules 21, 22, and 23 of Rule 103 would apply. In accordance with Rule 2291, there will be no notices of motions or motions without notice. Honorable delegates, before we proceed to questions, I would like to take this opportunity to once again welcome the Deputy President, as well as all permanent delegates, MECs who might be on the platform or in the House, and special delegates and SALGA representatives that might be with us. Further, I'd like to remind delegates that in terms of Rule 229 of the Council rules, time for reply to the Deputy President to a question is 5 minutes. Only 4 supplementary questions are allowed per question. A member who has asked the initial question would be the first to be afforded an opportunity to ask a supplementary question. The time for asking a supplementary question is 2 minutes. The time for reply to a supplementary question is 4 minutes. The supplementary question must emanate from the initial question. I would now like to call upon the Deputy President to respond to question number 1, asked by the Honorable Moe Mang. Honorable Deputy President, could you take the podium? Honorable Deputy President, the first question was from the Honorable Moe Mang, and you have 5 minutes to respond.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, and good afternoon to all honorable members. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, I would like to thank Honorable Moe Mang for raising this important question on revitalizing and growing the manufacturing sector in our townships and rural areas of our country. As government, we are dedicated to transforming apartheid's spatial planning by investing in critical industries such as manufacturing, revitalizing, and creating jobs in communities where people live. To this end, the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition has developed Industrial Parks Revitalization Program aimed at resuscitating and reviving South Africa's old and abandoned industrial parks and equipping them to drive job creation in the manufacturing sector in townships and rural areas. The Industrial Parks Revitalization Program further aims at supporting state-owned industrial parks and identified enabling opportunities for local manufacturing and value addition in marginalized communities. Government has made significant progress in areas such as Nkuwa Industrial Park in Tzaneen, Isithebe Industrial Park in Mandeni, Machabeng Enterprise Industrial Park, and the Wild Coast Industrial Park in Mthatha. The Nkuwa Industrial Park, where Pepper Joy International is a major tenant, employs 66 emerging and commercial farmers for processing plant inputs. This initiative creates 6,000 seasonal workers for 9 months, excluding 348 permanent employees and 5,000 indirect jobs created through contracted farmers. The Industrial Parks Revitalization Program, led by DTIC in collaboration with the National Treasury's City Support Program and Township Economic Development Framework, are aimed at developing integrated city development strategies. These strategies are already under implementation in Tembisa, Kuruleni, New Brighton in the Eastern Cape. In July 2024, during Minister Stella Ndabeni's budget speech for small business development, she pronounced that through the Small Enterprise Finance Agency, SEFA, government has allocated an amount of 266.8 million rand to Small Enterprise Manufacturing Program. This will strengthen the Black Industrial Program and ensure more participation of small enterprises in the manufacturing sector. When delivering the budget vote speech in July this year, the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition also briefed Parliament on government programs to support special economic zones. The SEZs are aimed at expanding economic activity in underdeveloped parts of South Africa. To date, there are 11 designated SEZs, of which 9 are being supported by the SEZ Fund. According to the Minister, the SEZs have generated investments amounting to 19.6 billion rand. In conclusion, Honorable Chairperson, Government is committed to fostering collaboration with the private sector while building the capacity of the state to create a conducive environment for township and rural economies to thrive. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now go up to the follow-up question. Honorable Moemang.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Ke re tlotile Motlatsa President wa naga ya Afrika Borwa re Mashatile. Let me thank you for re-emphasizing the importance of SEZ and industrial park and the need for them to be aligned with the growth opportunities within regions and provinces, and also ensuring that they are fully planned, funded, developed, and managed and marketed that will propel industrialization. Now, the question that I want to pose as a follow-up, Deputy President, is whether government has looked at developing incentive schemes for investors in the SEZ and industrial parks to ensure that there is interagency coordination of the industrial parks and SEZ and ensure that there is future expansion. Thank you, Deputy President. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Moemang. Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Moemang. Indeed, Honorable Moemang, as I said earlier, one of the things that government has done was to set up an SEZ fund, which is currently in place, amounting to about 19 billion rands to support these initiatives. There are also a number of tax relief measures that are being used to support these small businesses or small enterprises, particularly in the SEZs. They benefit from reduced corporate taxes as well, including customs, free zones, VAT relief, but also CIP, which is your critical infrastructure program, is meant to support these small, medium enterprises in the SEZ. So there are a number of these tax measures that are being used, and particularly to ensure that we can help these small businesses to thrive. So SEZ is an area which these small businesses get these incentives, including grants, but as I said earlier, that a lot of infrastructure in the SEZ is provided by government, and that is to ensure that the small enterprises do benefit from the measures that the government is putting in place. And I must say that most of them, as I said, almost 9 of the SEZs are benefiting and are doing very well to support small and medium enterprises. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Deputy President. We'll move on to the second follow-up question, and that's from the Honorable Vandenberg.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chairman of the House. Deputy President, my questions. Has government considered that the township economy needs primary products in order to manufacture goods and services? Would it not be wise for government to consider investments into protecting and/or promoting local primary and secondary production to supply the quasi economy? Rather than putting the cart before the horse, should government continue with a frenzy to find and finance SMMEs? Some SMMEs only last as long as the funding is available, resulting in a 2 billion rand loss for SEFA. And what measures has government put in place to lessen the exposure of the township economy from international import dependency? We have to ask, why are we not producing at least denim material from South African cotton mills? Why is the township economy not producing at least leather from animal skins? By estimate, half of the billion raw skins from our slaughterhouses are exported, and they are half of the billion raw skins exported are not even earning export duties. But we then import our precious animal skins in the form of shoes at high markups. Can we not teach the youth to become tailors,
Remember, your
builders,
time,
and
your time has
shoemakers
expired.
like they do in India? Thank you, Jay.
Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Vandenberg. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the purpose of the SEZs is also to encourage small businesses to focus on localization. So that's really the driving objectives, that they must produce local goods rather than importing goods. So whether it's looking at leather or denims and so on, it's something that we encourage. It may well be that we may not reach all the different products in the immediate future, but the main objective is to get them to be able to produce goods using local materials and making sure that they also can create employment. Because if you rely on exports, there are very few opportunities to create employment, because you get finished goods, then you sell them. So SEZs are mainly for manufacturing, and we do encourage them to use local material to be able to support the South African economy, create jobs in our country, and make sure that they themselves, through the support they get from government, can grow those enterprises. So I agree with you that we must make them sustainable, so that we don't fund them and we keep funding them. Once we've funded them, we want to see them being sustainable going forward, supporting themselves through the productions that they are involved in. That's why we also, in addition to other measures I spoke about earlier, that SEFA as well is putting a lot of money in support of these enterprises. Almost more than 60 million rand has been budgeted to support most of these enterprises in the SEZ. So yes, Honourable Member, they say local is lekker. So let's promote that. Let's make sure that, yes, our enterprises must produce. If they produce nice techies, denims, I'm sure all of us honorable members will go and buy there. We won't be waiting for imports. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. We now move on to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honorable Suisa.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Deputy President, about 40% of the working age population and 60% of the country's unemployed people live in townships. Townships are therefore at the center of the crisis that South Africa is experiencing, namely high unemployment, persistent poverty, and record high levels of inequality. And to date, there have been no real efforts taken by government to revitalize townships and rural economies, as they continue to face many challenges such as lack of markets, inadequate infrastructure, and little to no government support. In light of this, which initiatives have you taken to promote entrepreneurships and assist manufacturers, especially in rural areas, to promote their products? Further, which steps have you taken to ensure that their products find place in the shelves of big retail stores in this country, so as to upscale the revitalization of township economies so that the rural and township economy may occupy its rightful place in the mainstream economy of South Africa and contribute meaningfully in creating jobs, alleviating poverty, and growing the economy? Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable Deputy President, your response, please. Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chair. Honourable Suisa, you are quite right that we need to get these enterprises to also target international markets so they don't produce only for the local market but also international markets. Recently, I had an opportunity to visit Ireland and United Kingdom, and one thing good that we did, the Honourable Member, we brought the Minister of Small Business Development with us, because we realize that most cases when we create opportunities outside of South Africa, we do it for the big corporates. But this time we took the Minister of Small Development to promote products that are being developed by small, medium enterprises, but also drumming support for them. So the issue of township economy is something that both DTIC and small business development are pushing. I know that in places like Gauteng, there have been very active initiatives of driving what they call township economy. The MEC for Economic Development introduced that program very actively, and it's beginning to happen also in other provinces. So we would like to see more of that, and I've discussed with the minister, both Minister of Small Development, DTIC, to push provinces in that direction, where we can have more activities that are taking place in townships, and real activities, not just spaza shops. Because, people, when they think of township economy, they think spaza shops. We want real activities, manufacturing activities that must take place in our townships, small manufacturing sectors that we saw in the past, which we are beginning to revive as we speak, because there have been in other local areas small industries. Many of you will know them in different parts of our country that were there closer to townships. Those must be revitalized. So I agree with you. Township economy, very important, and we must urge everybody to support those initiatives throughout the country so that the small businesses can help us in growing the economy and creating jobs in our country. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much. We now move on to the last follow-up question on this one, and that is from the Honorable Dr. Srehokel.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson, and welcome, Deputy President. With reference to the revival of the, sorry, not that, that's the following question, sorry. Load shedding has made manufacturing an impossible undertaking. Now that we appear to have it partly under control, Eskom is proposing a 40% price hike, which will render our manufacturing sector hopelessly uncompetitive. Will you engage with the Minister of Electricity and Energy to ensure that this job-killing increase does not go ahead? Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much. Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Skochel. The problem of load shedding was indeed something that affected all of us. I'm sure many of us as South Africans are now very glad that we seem to have this now behind us. More than 200 days of no load shedding. It's quite good. What we are doing with the Minister of Electricity is to ensure that this intervention is sustainable. So that it's not a short-term intervention, because in order to grow businesses, whether it's small, medium, or big businesses, you need reliable energy. Yesterday, when the minister was briefing me and the president, he said they had put a target of 70% of the energy reliability factor or availability factor. They have now reached that target as we speak. We are at 70% energy availability factor. So it means the chance of load shedding as we speak now is nil. But remember, the problem with load shedding is that you do need your power stations to always be properly maintained. Because the problem is that during load shedding, the reason why we had that problem is that we had to take a lot of them out for maintenance because they have not been maintained for a long time. But now, if you have 70% energy availability factor, then you have room to be able to take some out for proper maintenance and be able to bring them back on time before you have challenges. So I can say without doubt that I think we have gone past the worst, and where we are now, we have enough energy to power the economy, because that's really what we need for all enterprises, for communities out there, including in rural areas. Everybody needs energy to survive. But working with the Minister of Energy as well, they are also looking at introducing other methods so that we don't only rely on coal-fired power stations. As you know, we're moving towards the just energy transition, so we need to begin to look at a clean method of energy. So that is happening as we speak, wind, solar, etc. That's what we are pushing as we speak. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now move on to the next question that was put by Honorable Badenhorst. Honorable Deputy President, your response to that question.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. The question by Honorable Badenhorst on the revival of the National State-Owned Enterprise Bill is appreciated. Honorable Deputy Chair, President Cyril Ramaphosa stated at the opening of the 7th Parliament that government will finalize a new centralized ownership model for state-owned enterprises in order to improve, amongst others, accountability, transparency, governance, and oversight, while reducing inefficiencies and potential for corruption. In this regard, the National State Enterprise Bill that lapsed in the 6th Parliament has now been revived by the 7th Parliament. Among other matters, the National State Enterprise Bill 2024 is aimed at developing a strategy for national state enterprises to establish the state asset management, state-owned company, provide for appropriate and effective monitoring and reporting mechanism over state enterprises and subsidiaries. Deputy Chairperson, I'm pleased to report that President Ramaphosa has since assigned Minister in the Presidency, Ramokgopa, responsible for planning, monitoring and evaluation, the responsibility to finalize the processes towards establishment of the state asset management company and associated matters. The state entities that were previously under the stewardship of the former Department of Public Enterprises in particular will now report to their respective line function departments in terms of policy and regulatory matters. The National State Enterprise Bill 2024 will play a critical role in the future governments of South African state-owned enterprises. In this regard, the centralized model will ensure that state-owned companies or enterprises are insulated from political influence and interference. The board of the holding company will have independence over state-owned enterprises to provide oversight without undue influence. To ensure we deliver to the third priority of government of national unity, that of building a capable, ethical and developmental state, government will pursue every action that will contribute to sustainable, rapid economic growth and remove every obstacle that stands in the way of growth, including eliminating fraud, corruption, and maladministration in the public service. Those are the things that we believe we will be able to achieve through this centralized model once it is fully implemented. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. We now go to the follow-up question, and Honorable Bardenos, do you have a follow-up?
Thank you, Deputy President. Good to see you again in the House.
Thank you.
As you just said, Deputy President, in July this year, the President did indeed announce that state-owned enterprises will fall under direct control of his office, with the Minister of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation taking charge of the restructuring. However, Deputy President, in August, the President reassigned the responsibility for state-owned enterprises to the respective line function ministries. So forgive me, but the word vacillating comes to mind, something that South African public has gotten quite used to during the Ramaphosa presidency. Can you perhaps indicate which one it is now? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Bardenos. Honorable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Well, perhaps let me simplify it this way, that the President is not moving away from the centralized model. So that is continuing. That's why you have this, this bill that is now coming before the National Assembly. The minister in the presidency responsible for planning is working on that. But what has happened is that this model is only for certain strategic SOEs, not all of them. It's going to target certain strategic SOEs to be in the centralized model. But the president wants to deal with what really concerned government over a long time. And as I said, the Honorable Badenhorst, to be able to ensure accountability. So the centralized model, that company is not meant to run ESCOM, but it will ensure that ESCOM accounts to the central state company under the presidency, because the president wants to have an oversight over all state-owned companies. They can operate, have their boards and so on, but most of them will be monitored by this centralized state-owned company. It's a model that you will find in places like Singapore. They have the same model where you try and bring state companies under one roof, but some of them you give them independence to operate. So they still have their independence to do their operations, but they will be monitored by the centralized company. So we're not going to take all of them stock, lock, and barrel with their balance sheets. A lot of them will still operate out there. So we are in the process of looking at that and seeing how this model is going to work. We are looking at the experiences from other countries that have been very successful. In fact, if you look at I don't know if you have had an opportunity to look at the Singapore model, because of that approach where they are able to bring a lot of strategic enterprises in the centralized model, they were able to list that company on the stock exchange. And at the same time, they were able to then build a sovereign wealth funds on the balance sheet of such as an own state company. But there will be other state-owned companies out there that are running on their own, doing their own operations. But this company, this centralized state-owned company, will be able to monitor and do oversight on all companies and enterprises owned by the state. So it's not either or. The president was just ensuring that we understand that we're not taking everything stock, lock, and barrel. Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from the Honorable Mabilo.
Honorable Deputy Chair, thanks once again, DP.
Yes.
Honorable DP, there is a general consensus that there is an urgent need for significant reform measures to address the chronic and sustained challenges, inefficiencies affecting our state-owned enterprises, to ensure that they continue to play a pivotal role in the South African economy and serve as a critical vehicle for achieving improved economic growth, poverty reduction, and the National State Enterprise Bill provides a critical foundation for development of a strategy for the transformation of the national state enterprises. My question to the Honorable DP is whether government has set in place time frames for addressing the complex and conflicting legal and policy architecture that currently governs the state-owned enterprises, particularly the interplay between 1, the bill, 2, the Companies Act, 3, the Public Finance Management Act, and the existing foundation legislation that may be applicable to certain state-owned entities. Thank you, DP. Thank you, Deputy Chair. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mabilo. Honorable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. Honorable Mabilo, the process has started. As I said earlier, that we're going the route of a centralized model. to be able to improve reforms on how we manage state enterprises. Now, this National State Enterprise Bill was already introduced early this year in the previous administration before the elections. Of course, because of the end of the term of government, it lapsed. But as I said earlier, it has now been revived, managed by the minister in the presidency. She's busy with that now to ensure that it's one of the urgent matters that we deal with. So if you talk time frames, we're already there. In fact, if I recall, already on around July, the matter was now once again being brought to the portfolio committee. So it will soon also come to the NCOP, because it's a very important bill that set up this new framework and these new reforms that we are pushing. So you consolidate some of the critical state-owned companies, you ensure oversight on all of them, and make sure that you have a line of sight of what is happening, because many people have been saying state-owned enterprises are just gobbling resources, they are not effective, they are not accountable. That's where you find a lot of fraud and corruption. So this is an intervention that's going to end that. That's going to make sure that we put all those problems behind us and have efficiencies. Because once state-owned companies are able to work efficiently, then we'll achieve our goal of growing an inclusive economy much faster and make sure that we can increase employment and make sure that many of the people who are unemployed are able to get employment, especially young people. So in short, all I'm saying that we are reforming that sector of state-owned enterprises to work efficiently. So the Department of Monitoring and Evaluation did look at the recommendation from the Presidential Review Commission, or rather committee, Presidential Review Committee that has come up with proposals. And she's busy now setting up all those things. So that bill will come through here, and we hope that the NCOP will support this intervention going forward. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now move on to the next follow-up question, and that comes from the Honorable J.S. Majola.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Thank you, Deputy President. And also, thank you for your responses. We are pleased, Deputy President, to hear that the process is about to arrive to its destination in terms of planning. You indicated that the ministry in the presidency office is about to present the plan. We are further pleased to note from your response that this proposed central plan, it won't take away the powers from the respective line functions department, depending on the nature of the SOE. My first question, you indicated that as the SOE is listed in Schedule 2 of the Public Finance Management Act, you indicated that not all of them that will fall into this proposed plan. If maybe the Deputy President maybe can give us a hint as to which are those out of 700 SOEs listed there in Schedule 2. But my question is, did also the government apply its mind when you look at the individual performance of the SOEs, that if we put them in the same central operational plan, those who are not performing in terms of generating revenue will have a burden to the ones that are performing, maybe with regards to the operation point of view. How are we going to prevent that situation? Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chair. Honourable Majola, thank you very much for your support of this model. As I can hear that you are very enthusiastic about it. You are quite right. South Africa has got a lot of SOEs. So what the minister is doing is looking at the review, the recommendation of the review committee to look at what they say exactly. You may recall that at some point there were also views that some of them needs to be merged and so on. So there are a number of proposals. But I think what the president emphasizes that the centralized ownership model is to ensure that for the first time, government at the highest level will have a view of state-owned enterprises and how they operate, and particularly the strategic ones. And I think what the minister, one of the things the minister will come up with is which one are strategic. Because we may differ here in terms of whether you think Sandral is strategic or PRASA or ESCOM and so on. So that's the work she's doing now, to comb through that to say these ones are strategic and therefore we want to ensure that we have a centralized ownership model. But we want the state-owned companies at the center to be able to look at all our state-owned enterprises. Because the main issue here is accountability. So the president was not saying we really want to take operations of all state-owned enterprises, but we want to make sure that the centralized model of ownership particularly focuses on the strategic ones, but be able to ensure that we can monitor, we can ensure accountability, so that these state-owned enterprises are effective. It may well be that in the review, the minister might find out that some of them should not exist in the current manner in which they exist, or structures, current structures that they have at the moment. But we do want to make sure that all of them are efficient. So we will come back once we have come through this whole big list of more than 700 state-owned companies and say, okay, I mean, the NCOP will also have a say. You may be able to say, no, we don't think this is strategic. Just leave it there. But we'll watch it still. So there's nothing we are not going to watch. We will watch it because if we believe that an SOE must exist, it means it's important. It means it must be watched. It means it must be accountable. It must be efficient and so on. So that work at least has now started and it will come here. Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The last follow-up question is from the Honourable Gericka.
Thank you, Deputy Chair, and afternoon, Deputy President.
Afternoon.
Apology. Deputy President, the Economic Freedom Fighters has on various platforms lamented the importance of state-owned enterprises in South Africa. It is wrong to generalize and paint all officials with the same brush. We cannot condone this type of conduct on this level, and South Africa has been corrupted long before 1994 when the white apartheid government ransacked our country's resources. This includes SAA, Transnet, the mining industry, etc., and nothing has happened to any one of them, Deputy President. This has continued under the democratic government, as one finds that under the leadership of the ruling party, there has for years been a deliberate and systematic destruction of state enterprises, where they are exploited by opportunistic politicians. This mainly a result of leadership failures on the part of the ruling elite, who show no signs of being concerned about the running of the country and growing its economy. In light of this daunting reality, which measures have you put in place to strengthen SOE practices so as to introduce transparency and accountability at all levels and put ethics at the center of business decision making? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Gericke. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson. Honorable Gericke, what I was saying earlier on is that we are reforming the sector. As you're asking, what are we doing? Amongst others, through the centralized model, we want to deal with those challenges. And you are quite right. Some of the problems date back from the apartheid era. We inherited some of the state-owned enterprises. We didn't change them ourselves. So we are saying now is the time. Let's change the way SOEs are owned, how they operate, how we appoint the board of directors. Do they have the right skills? All these things. So these reform measures are looking exactly at that, to ensure that we don't just go on business as usual. Some of the state-owned enterprises are like 50 years old. They are quite old. They've been there for some time. Then they're using the same model. And if you look at state-owned enterprises throughout the world at the moment, they are modernized. And we need to do the same. Government must take action and change the way SOEs appoint the boards and how those boards appoint CEOs. There must be no interference, so that those who are on the board must understand that they are not managers. When you are a chairman of the board, you are not the CEO. There is a CEO. And those things sometimes have created problems in the past, where there's a lot of interference by boards on how companies or state-owned enterprises work. But I agree with you that we shouldn't paint everybody with the same brush, that all people in state-owned companies are bad. We are not saying that. But we are saying, let's reform. You will find some, rotten apple there and there, but we can't say, sitting here and say, everybody who is on a board of a state-owned company or officials working there are all bad people, corrupt people, messing up. That's not the case. Because reforms sometimes don't necessarily have to do with the actions of individuals, but it has to do with the times as well. We are in a digital economy. We're looking at how other countries are operating, and we must make sure that we are not left behind. Let's support the reforms and let's make sure that our state-owned enterprises operate effectively like all others in the world. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Deputy President. We now move on to the third question of the day, and that comes from the Honorable Molokome. Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson. Let me thank Honorable Molokome for raising this important question because it allows us to highlight government interventions to build ethical, developmental, and a capable state. The question further allows us to deal with financial management capacity challenges in the public sector, including the prevalence of maladministration and corruption. In this regard, I have been in constant engagement with the Public Service Commission and the National School of Governance to ensure they implement programs that are directed at strengthening the capacity of the state. Cabinet has also directed the Minister of Finance and Public Service and Administration to collaborate in assisting and assessing the capacity of chief financial officers in all spheres of government with a view to ensuring effective financial management. Government continues to strengthen financial management capacity of our financial management officers through a number of interventions to prevent further occurrence of incidences similar to fraudulent medico-legal claims within the Department of Health. We want to commend the good work done by law enforcement agencies to prevent corruption in this sector. Both the SIU and MPA have moved swiftly recently and they've managed to prevent the fraud or fraudulent medical legal claims amounting to over 3 billion rands. As part of government intervention to address financial management capacity challenges in the public sector, the National Treasury is currently implementing the capacity development strategy for the financial management in the public sector. That includes stakeholders like the Department of Public Service and Administration and the National School of Governance. Furthermore, government is currently implementing the National Anti-Corruption Strategy, which is a national blueprint to prevent fraud and corruption in the public sector. This strategy further acknowledges the Charter of Positive Values as developed by the Moral Regeneration Movement and constitutional values as expressed in the National Development Plan. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, to further strengthen state capacity to deal decisively with financial management, President Cyril Ramaphosa signed into law the Public Procurement Bill on the 18th of July this year. The procurement or the Public Procurement Act provides for a single national regulatory framework for procurement to promote integrity, transparency, and strengthen measures to prevent abuse of procurement, wasteful expenditure, and corruption. In conclusion, through these interventions, government will implement the whole of government approach to fight fraud and corruption in the public service. This approach encourages collaboration between government, the private sector, and civil society as one of the fundamentals of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. We now go on to the first follow-up question from the Honorable Molokome.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. The Deputy President. Honorable Deputy President, among the key factors that are hindering public financial management and accountability in the public sector in South Africa, particularly at local government level, includes the slow pace in developing a model for professionalization of local government. Despite all those efforts to professionalize local government, we still continue to see politicized appointments, inadequate financial management, constrained financial efficiency, and weak service delivery system. Deputy President, my question is, I know that you have touched on the question that I want to ask, but I'll emphasize that so that you do the same to the House. Has government established timeframes for the professionalization of local government as part of the implementation of the capacity development strategy to strengthen state capacity and to deal decisively with financial management capacity challenges in the public sector? Thank you, Chairperson, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Molakome. Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Yes, Honorable Lukome, as I said earlier, the issue of professionalization is already being introduced. In fact, it was introduced as early as 2022, where a framework was put in place. Now, your concern is mainly on local government. So the approach that we are taking is that when we professionalize the public service, we should do it for the whole of the public sector. So the framework that we have come up with will definitely look at local government as well. We'll look at state-owned enterprises as well. We'll also look at the provinces. You may recall that there was a time when many in South Africa felt that you should have a single public service. And, we have not quite reached that, but we think we should use the professionalization of the public service to move into that direction. Because at the moment, when you look at how we manage senior appointments, remuneration of senior civil servants, there are discrepancies. If you look at many, let's say, city managers, particularly in the metros, they earn far much more than a DG. So there is no parity, there is no uniformity, whereas a professionalized civil service or public service should be able to ensure that there is parity so that people can move through the ranks. If you go to someone today who works as a city manager in a metro and you offer them a job as a DG in the national government, they won't accept it. It's almost like a demotion because where they are, they earn 3 times more. So we will definitely look at local government through this process. We won't just look at national government and say we have professionalized the civil service, we go up to provinces. We must go down to local government because that's where we have the biggest challenges as well. If you look at biggest challenges in this country, where do you find them? Local government. So I'm happy you are spot on this one. We have to ensure that the professionalization of the public service must touch local government. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. We move to the next follow-up question, and that comes from the Honorable Kennedy.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honorable Deputy President, in expectation of a better financial outcomes and reduction of wasteful expenditures? What processes are there to improve the financial knowledge of the departments in order to eradicate fraud and corruption? And secondly, is there any monitoring tool put in place to detect any fraudulent transactions and stop their continuation? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kennedy. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson. Thank you, Honorable Kennedy. As I said earlier, one of the reasons why we revived the Procurement Act to bring the new one was, in fact, to be able to strengthen measures that will ensure that we prevent corruption, maladministration. So that's one of the methods that we are putting in place. If you go through that act, you'll see that it is precisely aiming at dealing with the challenge that you are raising. Because in the public sector, the complaint about corruption, maladministration is because sometimes the regulations are not tight enough. So with this new act, we will be able to strengthen not only the law, but the regulations as well. That seeks transparency in the way you manage procurement. As you know, that sometimes when things go wrong, it's because of the way companies are appointed or individuals are appointed and given tenders. And so we need to strengthen all that. But of course, you do need people with the right skills. That's why I was saying earlier that my discussion with the National School of Government to put in place courses that will make sure people are properly trained so that they don't make mistakes and we think they are corrupt, but in fact, they didn't know what they are doing. So we must appoint the right people, we must train them so that we can hold them accountable, so that somebody mustn't say, oh no, I was not aware. So apart from the National School of Government, of course, the Public Service Department itself must ensure that people are trained. I know that the Public Service has been very strict with the appointments, and we need to be like that not only for national departments, for provincial departments, as Honorable Mulukuma was saying earlier, for local government as well. You may take local government easy, but some of our cities, they have budgets far bigger than national departments. I mean, if you go to a city of Joburg and see how much they manage, some of the national departments don't even manage that kind of budget. So training is important. Let's have the skills, but the laws and the regulations must be tight. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from the Honorable Mokhai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. And once again, welcome to the Deputy President, to the NCOP. It's always good to have you in our chamber. Mr. Deputy President, the fact of the matter is that 10,679 legal claims were made against the state's health departments between 2015 and 2020, amounting to a total of 107 billion rands. This amount is close to half of what the department's budget was in those 5 years, about 215 billion rands, which should be used for hiring health workers, buying medicine, and running hospitals. Fraud and incompetence are robbing South Africans of decent health care. When will an electronic case management system be implemented across all provinces in our country? I thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mokai. Honorable President, Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair, and thanks, Honorable Mukai, for the follow-up question. Did I say Mukai? Yes, I'm correct. Yeah, not Mukai, Mukai, Mukai. Okay, Mukai. Yeah. Okay. Honorable Mukai, you are quite right. This area of medical legal has been a playground for people basically swindling the state, especially the legal profession. And therefore we need to tighten the screws there. Now, at the moment, what we have done through the investigating agency of the state, we are investigating in all provinces. So not just one province, I think all 9 provinces. Already as we speak, there are cases there. We will be able to give you, because it's a lot of information that I checked when I wanted to see what's happening in all provinces, Gauteng, the Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, Western Cape, everywhere. So the SIU is investigating a lot of those claims, fraudulent claims, because the problem with medical legal is that most of it is related also to accidents. So it's very easy for people to how can I put it, to come with false information, if I may put it that way. And then the state has to pay and so on. So I can assure you, Honorable Mukai, that we are intervening now on this one. It will take a bit of time because I think fraudulent activities were just too many in this sector of medical legal claim. They run into billions of rands, and therefore it will take some time. But we have started, and we've started in all provinces, and very soon we'll be able to make a breakthrough. And over time, we want to clean that sector to make sure that claims that are paid must be claims that deserve to be paid, not fraudulent activities where people have found ways of making easy money through the state. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We go to the final follow-up question, and that's from the Honorable Nzimande.
No, thanks, Chair. Good afternoon, Honorable Deputy President Paulos Shikoposa Mashatile. No, Deputy Chairperson, I hear the President, the Deputy President. Deputy President is talking on symptoms and not necessarily the root causes. The challenges that we are facing, it's about the root causes. And that's what also the SIU has found, and they've dealt with the causal factors. The causal factors will include the issue of human resource for health. There is few capacity because of austerity measures that are imposed. Workers are now much concerned about the routine instead of a quality. That's where then you'll find adverse events occurring, serious adverse events. Now, the issue that we definitely want to check with the President, Deputy President, because obviously will include the issue of the tracking system from the point of entry of a patient to the exit. It's what also is found in the SIO report. But secondly, it's a question that deals then with the human resource for health, which globally it is accepted that there must be growth, including the issue of capacity. But we see this government doing contrary. You can hear from Gauteng that there is an embargo on filling of posts, which is a problem. Now we want to check with the Deputy President. What intervention are you going to make to assist that there is this
Honourable Member, your
around
time has
the
expired.
issue of filling of posts? And secondly,
Thank you,
is
Honourable
that
Member. Please,
how are you gonna deal
please
with
take
the
your seat.
systems
Your time
that
has
will
expired.
address the issue of state attorneys that
Your
are the
time
ones
has
that
expired,
are
Honourable
corrupt?
Member. Honourable Deputy President, your response, if there was a question.
Yes, there was a question at the end, but I was struggling to hear because members were making noise.
No, it's about the findings that deals with
No,
the
Honourable
state
Member, I have not
attorneys
recognized
as
you
the
to
ones
speak.
that are directly
Honourable
involved.
Nzimande,
How do you assist on
you are
that?
out of order, sir. I haven't recognized you to speak. No, I'm chairing.
Sorry, I was just respecting
No,
the Deputy
you don't
President.
just.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Honourable Nzimande spent a lot of time restating the problem, and that's why I was struggling to hear the question at the end. But let me say, Honourable Nzimande, that yes, we have to deal with the root causes. If we find out that in some of our provinces, people who are dealing with the systems, whether they're from HR, etc., looking at the tracking system, if we find that there is a weakness there, we will intervene. Because remember, these people are also dealing with shrewd lawyers. So the fraudulent system in medical legal is not just by, tsotsis in the street. You're dealing with shrewd people. So you're quite right that we need to look at our own systems, the people who are there in our HRs and so on, that they are able to have proper systems to be able to track this. But the good thing is that, as I said, we are looking at all provinces. We already have evidence of what is being looked at, whether it's in the Eastern Cape, Gauteng, etc. We have a sense of the value of the claims that are being looked at, whether they are correct. And it's quite shocking because they run into billions of rands. So it means there must be collaboration in the state. Those who are investigating, those who are working in the system, because sometimes when people defraud the system, they use people in the system. So it may not be because your HR people are not people who are properly skilled, but maybe they may be part of the scam. So you need to look into all that. But I can say, Honourable Deputy Chairperson, that the issue of medical legal fraud, those challenges are definitely being attended to. We are looking at them. We need to deal with them because we're talking about serious money, as you say, that could be used to improve the quality of lives of our people. Is going down the drain if it's going out through fraud. But thank you very much for your question. Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Deputy President. We now move on to the next question that was asked by the Honourable Makasini. Honourable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson. Honourable Makasini, the question you are raising has been emphasized by honourable members in the National Assembly recently on the urgent need for service delivery intervention at local government level. This Tuesday, we had an extended joint service delivery and water task team meeting with ministers, deputy ministers and premiers of provinces, where we agreed on the need to ensure the speed of execution in the delivery of services. Together, we also agreed that we will be on the ground working with municipalities in the context of the district development model, the DDM. When delivering the medium-term budget policy statement, the Minister of Finance announced that 50 of the 250 municipalities in the country have active financial recovery plans, and this number is quite small. The Minister also highlighted that 3 municipalities are under national intervention, and these are Mangaung, Inok Nkijima, and Likwa. I had a meeting with both ministers of COCTA and ministers of sanitation, water and sanitation, as I said earlier, Honorable Tlhabisa and Honorable Majodina. And we discussed how best we can ensure strengthened support to municipalities through the implementation of the district development model. To this end, the ministers have announced measures to address related challenges in various municipalities. Amongst others, these interventions include the completion of a 260 million rand project to upgrade the James Kleinhans water treatment works in Makana local municipality. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, some of the municipalities identified for prioritized interventions includes the Tsobotla in the northwest, Kopanong and Mafube in the Free State, Emfuleni in Gauteng, and Tabazimbi in Limpopo. When delivering his budget vote speech, the Minister of Cooperative Government and Traditional Affairs announced the budget of 395 billion rands, 395 million, with 95.9% of it set aside for distribution to municipalities-related institutions. This budget will primarily fund the local government equitable share, disaster relief grants, and municipal infrastructure projects. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, through the Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent, MISA, government continues to support distressed municipalities with infrastructure investment in order for them to deliver essential services or municipal services to our people. So this support we're going to continue to provide it. And I should say, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, that the report that both Minister of COCTA and Water and Sanitation have will be useful for members of the NCOP to receive, maybe early in the year, because they gave me a very detailed report of work they are doing already. I remember these COCTA slides were about 80 pages, and same with water. So they are doing extensive work at that level, and members may want to get them to come and brief you. Very good work that they are doing, very extensive. Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Deputy President. We now go on to the follow-up question from Honorable Makasini.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. Greeting, Deputy Chair. I thought you'll add the Machabeng in your municipality. Grossly, our municipality are underperforming in terms of governance, financial management, and service delivery. The municipalities, but have also collapsed in failing to on the financial affairs. The EFF has on many platforms maintained that the collapse of municipality is taking away the resources that were supposed to be delivered to our people. In light of this time frame, Deputy President, have you put in place for the implementation of the intervention, which you have mentioned, what specific indicators to be used to monitor the success of the intervention, and what is the estimate budget cost allocation? That will, I think we are going to add also Mashatile, because we are worried about that municipality. Thank you, Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Makasini. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. Honorable Makasini, indeed, Machabeng is there. I just missed it somehow when I was preparing the report, but it is there in the report that they presented. So you can be rest assured that we won't leave it behind. I did mention it. Okay. Somebody said they had me mentioning. Yes, but let me say that there are a number of municipalities. I must say, Deputy Chairperson, that in fact we are beginning to see improvements where there are interventions. When the Minister of Kokta gave a report, we can see we are getting somewhere. So let us make sure that we look at all of them. Malutia Pofung, there's also Nwate, the Val in Gauteng, look at that area of Sidibeng. I did mention Makana. So we are looking at this. In fact, Minister of Water and myself also visited Limpopo not long ago. We went to Guyane to look at, we were at that time looking at challenges of water. So we are engaging many of these municipalities. But as I said, early in the year, I'll talk to the two ministers to come to the NCOP and brief you about the good work that they are doing, very extensive, so that when you do your oversight work, you can actually use it to say, okay, ministers, you said you are in this area, you are doing the following. We have gone there, we saw nothing. Or we have gone there, indeed, we can see progress. Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Deputy President. We now move on to the next follow-up question. That's from the Honorable Brits.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. Good afternoon, Deputy President.
Afternoon.
Good to see you again in our House. Deputy President, noting that the DDM pilot program was launched in the eThekwini Metro, the OR Tambo and Waterberg district municipalities, and noting that SALGA comprehensively reported on the lessons learned and challenges facing the DDM pilot rollout in these municipalities and the Metro, noting further that not even the Auditor General is aware of any successful implementation of the DDM, and also noting that SALGA cited 9 emerging key challenges facing the DDM. Can you please provide information on the current status of the DDM program, the implementation thereof in other municipalities or metros beyond the initial pilot areas, and whether there are any objective reports or evaluations available that objectively assess this DDM program success?
Thank you, Honorable Brits. Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. Honorable Brits, yes, indeed. You will recall that the DDM is one of the, if I may put it, a new approach that we are using to force collaboration, integration, and the reason was because we realized that the 3 spheres of government are doing things parallel. National government comes, does its own project, provincial government, local government. I had an opportunity to go to eThekwini, and I found that the approach of the DDM was very useful in the way they were intervening, especially because we came from that, when I visited, it was just after the floods. And the interventions brought in all the municipalities in the areas, the provincial government. I went with all the national government departments that were relevant to the challenges then, particularly the water and sanitation. And that approach helped a lot because we were able to integrate the plans, the resources, and now we're rolling it out throughout the country. So I've been to other places as well in the Eastern Cape and Limpopo, Gauteng. So the DDM is working. I may not have all the examples of our success stories, but it is working as we speak. At least where I've been, I found that people are excited to be brought together in that manner. When I visit this area, sometimes I think, okay, maybe I'll see the MEC responsible for water or for economy, but then, I come there and I find almost all the MECs, the premiers, all the mayors, the officials, the DGs. So it's something exciting that I think we should push it as a way of life. That's how government should work. We must not go back to the silos of the past. I think we should make this a way of life. We must work this way. It's useful, it's working, and although when we started, there were other people who were skeptical that, no, this won't work. But it is working. It is working, and we will be doing more visits in the coming months to various areas. Even some of the areas I visited, I think we deserve to go back to look at what's happening there, like Jacques Fontaine in the Free State. But the reports that we are getting are very good. Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Briet.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Welcome, Mr. Deputy President. Sir, I would like to find out what assurances, and I'll start with my question and then give an explanation. What assurance do we have that the municipalities that were mentioned as service delivery hotspots and focused on in the 6th administration by yourself and your previous incumbent, by means of steps that you are going to take, please explain to us how can we assure that those municipalities will not be left by the wayside and just be left now that we have new focus municipalities. Although we welcome these municipalities, and I agree with the fighter in front of me of Machabeng, that is very good, but we need to see those municipalities, because in the 6th administration, Mr. Deputy President, you made a commitment when I asked you a question regarding Mukaka and the wastewater treatment work in Kroonstad, and to this day, that was during this year, right before the election, to this day, nobody has gone to visit it and it's still unoperational. So this to me clearly indicates that we are just forgetting about those municipalities. What can we expect? Thank you, Mr. Deputy President and House Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Briet. Honourable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chairperson. Honourable Briet, I've made a note of that. You're quite right. Sometimes, because we are in the new administration, there are new ministers, it is easy for some of the interventions to fall by the wayside. But at least because of those who were in the 6th administration have given full reports to the new team. So the ministers of Kokta and water and others who are responsible at that level have these reports. I will check with them about Kroonstad, and I agree with you that if we made a commitment that we will sort out things there and things are not moving, the minister should be made aware immediately. So I undertake to do that myself because I work very well with those ministers, and I think it will be good to go and see what's happening in Kronstadt and be able to fix things there. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. We now go on to the final question, follow-up question, and that's from the Honorable Kaunda.
Angibonge Sekela Sihlalo. Ngibingelele kusekela mongameli welizwe lakithi inqole emasondo emthembile kulomsebenzi ukuthi sishintshe impilo zabantu bakithi zibe ngcono. Sekela mongameli, kuyiqiniso ukuthi eningizimu Afrika omasipala bawu257 kodwa abanenqinamba ezinkulu bawu35. Kuyasikhathaza ke lokho. Ingakho nje sifisa ukubheka kakhulukazi kujwayele ukuthi kuqondane ukuthi labo masipala bangatholi imbiko kaMcwaningi Mabhuku u-Auditor General ekuyiyona echaza ukubenze kahle bajwayele ukuthi bengadlulisi kahle idingo kubantu bengaphathi kahle imali bengasingathi kahle ukulawula nokuphatha komasipala kanye nokwenza ukuhlinzeka ubuholi obulindelekile. Ngakho ke umbuzo uthi kungabe konke ungenelela usuphendule kahle Sekela mongameli kokunye usungikhavile mhlambe likuphi lolu daba umongameli athema kuqala onyaka evula iParliament wathi kuzofanele kubhekwe lolu daba luthi indlela okuhlinzekwa ngayo ngeimali omasipala ayibuyekezwe ireview ngoba omasipala abaningi abakwazi nje ukuthi besebenze ngoba abanawo amandla kakhulukazi enkece imali ukuthi benze umsebenzi. Ngiyabonga Sekela Sihlalo.
Siyabonga, Honorable Kaunda. And Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. Mangbonge mphathi wedolopha. That's how I know him. In fact, Honorable Kaunda can attest that when I visited eThekwini, he was there. Yes, we worked very well together there to look at this problem. Mangbongeke ukuthi into emali ibaluleke kakhulu. Uma ubheka amadolobha amaningi where we're not doing well, most of them will be complaining about financial resources. The model of local government in South Africa worked on an assumption that municipalities collect rates. And therefore, because they collect rates, water, electricity, and that people are paying, they have money to run those cities, to deal with infrastructure and so on. But the reality is different. Many of our municipalities don't have a local economic base. Even those where they are supplying a lot of water, electricity, and so on, not everybody is paying. And as a result, they don't have the revenue to run the cities properly. So, enye into ke mphathi wedolopha esiyenzayo ukuthi sibheke ukuthi sisebenza njani kakhulukazi nomasipala abanganayo le capacity. You are lucky because eThekwini you are much better in terms of having resources, but some far outlying municipalities, that's where you find this problem of lack of resources. So we are prioritizing it in the interventions that we are looking at. We are looking at this challenge. Some of the mayors from our various parts of the country have already raised it. When we were at the Lekgotla, they raised this matter that can we review the way we deal with equitable share, because it's based on that notion that the local government can raise all the money it needs. That's why local government gets, I think if I'm correct, is it 15%? 9% of equitable share. So, so because it's based on that model, so we need to review it and look at it, because otherwise national government begins now to carry a lot of municipalities by default because they are not able to provide services. But there's something we are looking at, and I'm happy you raised it, Honorable Kaunda. Sizoyibheka also bheka lo daba. Ngiyabulela.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. I take it that you've finished that one. I take it that you finished that question.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, we now move on to the next question that was posed by the Honorable Mokoena. Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. Accelerating land reform remains the key priority of this government. Our interventions are focused on expediting the process of land claims for agricultural products, or rather agricultural production, to subsequently improve food security. I have recently met both the Ministers of Agriculture and the Minister of Land Reform and Rural Development, and the matter of fast-tracking land reform and land claims was at the top of the agenda when we discussed this matter. As part of this ministerial engagement, we have been able to structure the priorities of the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Land Reform and Agriculture in terms of its program of action. This has enabled us to agree on some of the outstanding critical matters that require our immediate attention as we move forward with the land reform agenda. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, as part of ensuring that there is significant increase in agricultural production and improved food security, government continues to strengthen its post-settlement support to those whose claims have been settled in order for them to utilize the land productively. To this end, Cabinet has already approved the national policy on comprehensive producer support and development. The policy provides for the different category of farmers and the type of support to be provided to these farmers, especially those from disadvantaged communities, including women, youth, and persons with disabilities who are also involved in agricultural production. Furthermore, the Department of Agriculture has entered into partnerships with development partners such as community organizations and financial institutions to support farmers, many of whom are emerging producers, to improve accountability on the grants and support provided by government to farmers, build the credit profiles of these farmers for future access to finance, provide technical farming support to the farmers, and also provide farmers with an opportunity to market access. A practical example of the above-mentioned intervention relates to, amongst others, the establishment of a blended finance scheme in partnership with the Land and Agricultural Development Bank of Southern Africa to commercialize development farmers with the objective to facilitate meaningful participation, particularly of black producers and majority black-owned enterprises owning and controlling the agricultural value chain. These support measures will allow medium-scale producers to be linked to the necessary value chains as envisaged in the Agriculture and Agro-Processing Master Plan. Ultimately, this will enable our producers to supply the domestic and international market, as well as being equipped to become sustainable operations. Honorable Deputy Chair, as I conclude, according to the Department of Land Reform and Rural Development Commission on Restitution of Land Rights, had to adjust its targets downwards given funding pressures in the latest assessment. The Commission indicated that an estimated 68 billion rand would be required for the next period of 5 years in order to fast-track the settlement of all order claims lodged since 1998. As we move forward, we'll have continuous engagement with the National Treasury in an effort to secure the required funding to fast-track the settlement of outstanding land claims in our effort to strengthen our land reform program and ensure the food security for everyone in our country. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We go on to follow-up questions, and the first one will come from the Honorable Mokoena.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Good afternoon, Deputy President. 80% of the communal property associations are simply not working. They are dysfunctional. And this has had an impact on agricultural outputs as well as fisheries of land. We are sitting with employed or have not been able to get employed. We would like to know if there's any plan for these graduates, because we've seen some of them picketing outside the department in Tshwane. We feel that this is unacceptable, especially given the fact that South Africa recognizes agriculture as one of our important sectors. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The Honourable Deputy President will respond.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chair. Thank you very much, Honourable Mokoena. Yes, indeed, the policy is very good, but there are areas where it has not worked well, and we are looking at that. And some parts of the country, you've got very good projects in this regard. I had an opportunity to visit Mpumalanga, and I found that, particularly those who operate under the CPAs were they were doing quite well in their projects, but there are others where things are not going well, and that's where we need to do that, because beneficiaries of those who get need to be able to succeed, because if you just make sure they have access to land, you give them land, but there is no support mechanism, many of them fail. And that's what we have noticed, that we must not just give people land and leave. We need to be able to provide the necessary support for them to utilize the land productively. It's not everybody who's settled on the land who's a good farmer or who can overnight become a good farmer, so they need to be trained. So even the young people you're talking about, the graduates, we will look at that and be able to find a way of assisting them. When I was in KZN, and I'm sure Honorable Kaunda will remember, I was quite surprised because some of the successful farmers that we met there were very young people, young women, and very proud and telling me that they employ people. It was quite exciting. So we must make sure that we address these, wherever there are these problems, we address them so that we can support these young people. I was very excited to see these young people saying they are successful farmers, having acquired land, and one of them did, in fact, say that they would appreciate more support. Because sometimes they go to the banks, and we all know it's not easy to just get funding. So the blended finance scheme comes handy in that regard to assist these farmers to be able to become sustainable. Because over time, once we have helped them, if they run successful farms and produce and have access to markets, even internationally, they do well and they don't have to bother the state with funding. But we will look at this challenge of the graduate. Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from the Honorable Sitole. Joba.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, Deputy President Inhlikani. Honorable Deputy President, despite numerous government intervention to support small and emerging farmers, access to finance remains one of the major barriers to entry and expansion for emerging farmers. Therefore, fast-tracking land claims will not yield the desired outcome if the country does not implement a rigorous strategy to expand financing support for small and emerging black farmers. Now, my question is, what progress is government making in cutting the cost of access to funding for small and emerging black farmers, particularly intermediaries such as established players like commercial farmers that viewed as not necessarily keen on providing adequate assistance to emerging farmers because they can potentially be their future competitors? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sitole. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson. Manans Tola Kens. In a way, I think it's the same challenge that everybody is raising, because in the land reform program, restitution and making sure people have access to land, we want to see sustainability, because the way the program should work is that there should be post-settlement support. So you get given land, there should be post-settlement support to enable you, especially those who want to do farming, to be able to farm and become economically viable. So, Honorable Stolle, as I said earlier, one of the things we are doing now is that we have a very active interministerial committee on land reform and agriculture. There's been a delay in them flexing their muscle because, as you know, this was one department, but it was separated in this term. So the ministers have asked for more time to see what falls under land reform, what falls under agriculture, who's going to push which program. But that interministerial committee is very active, and I interface with them all the time. We just need to ensure that we give more energy to the blended finance scheme in terms of access, because there are still farmers out there who are saying, well, we're still struggling. And when you send them to commercial banks, as I said earlier, it becomes difficult. There is one area that we are looking at with the ministers is some of the land is owned by traditional leaders. So the tenure rights there are a bit difficult for commercial banks, as we know, and we're trying to see how we can navigate around that. But I agree with you that I think we must ramp up post-settlement support, ensure the blended scheme becomes accessible to everybody who's got land, who wants to farm. And I will discuss this with the interministerial committee to make sure that they complete their internal discussion on who does what, so that we can get on with the business of supporting farmers out there, people who own the land, to be able to make it productive. But indeed, I think this is a question we must keep on top of our agenda. We have to deal with the issue of providing support. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from the Honorable Pinar.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Agbare Adjunct Minister, President, sorry. Deputy President, before you start trying to expropriate productive, privately owned farms that are currently feeding the country, why are you not fast-tracking and prioritizing the distribution of state-owned farms that are currently sit at more than 6,000 to recipients with title deeds? Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Pinar. Honorable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Honorable Pinar, we are doing that. We are fast-tracking. As I said earlier, that the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development was one department, is now separated. In my discussion with the ministers as late as yesterday, they were finalizing between them who's doing what. But fast-tracking indeed. The approach that we are taking is that it's not either or. We need to look at both, because there are many people who need land for farming, for other forms of development. So yes, where there is state land, there shouldn't be a delay in getting that land be made available to people. Remember, where we expropriate land as well, as you say, is productive land. Some of the land in South Africa is in the hands of absentee landlords. So you have good productive land, but it's owned by someone who has even forgotten where it is. Sitting in London or in Australia and all that, we want that land. So active it to benefit our government land that is available for the same purpose. So government lying fallow when people need South Africa story. When you look at vast like be made available, and other forms of must be made available as well to farm. Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. We now move on to the final follow-up question by the Honourable Farmer.
He's a real farmer. Yeah, but he's a real farmer. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson, and thank you, Deputy President. Deputy President, I think you've covered me a great deal on post-settlement support. I've listed, however, 4 programs of government for post-settlement support, like your Integrated Food Security and Nutrition Program, IFSNP, Irrigation Revitalization and Development Program, Comprehensive Agricultural Support Program, CASP, as well as Micro-Agricultural Financial Institutions of South Africa, MAFISA. However, there are too much claimants out there that's not being supported. We've had oversight recently in the Free State where land was given to claimants, yet they do not have a vehicle to reach their land. So my question is, seeing that we in the NCOP have taken this decision that the 7th term would be the one where stuff will start to happen, what can government ensure that these programs will be revitalized and revived? Thank you, Deputy President.
Thank you, Honourable Farmer. Honourable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chair. Honourable Farmer, when your name was called, why were they laughing? They were not sure whether you are a real farmer. But from the questions you ask, I think you show very good interest in this area. Post-settlement support, if it's not working, we need to intervene quickly, as Honourable Farmer is saying, because at the end of the day, many of those who receive land who are farming want to commercialize those farms to be able to be productive. We must help them with markets. We must help them with irrigation schemes. We must help them with other forms of support. Others must be able to ensure that their production reach agro-processing. And all those are not easy. But Honourable Farmer, what I will do with the ministers, relevant ministers, is to look at, as you say, that there are some claimants out there who, as you say, seem to be neglected, if I may use that word, that there are programs that are working, but some claimants seem to be neglected anybody. I want everybody in the program to succeed. Is when people get rid of and when you I've had horrible stories of someone saying that there was a farmer gave it to the community and the farmer took the money, went to farm elsewhere in Mozambique. He came back past his own, went back, bought the farm again from those people, and started farming. So we don't want that. We want to make sure that when we use the land productively. And Honourable Farmer, that's going to be our preoccupation, and we'll look at this issue of these claimants who seem to be neglected, or there is no production on their farms, and we'll find out what are the challenges and be able to make sure that they too can succeed. Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Deputy President. That ends the fifth question. We now go on to the final set of questions, and that is the question that was posed by the Honourable Ngumalo. Deputy President, your response.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chair. Honourable Ngumalo, the question of extortion-based economy that is controlled by ruthless gangsters and extortionists poses a serious concern to us as government and also law-abiding citizens. We have also responded to a related question in the National Assembly recently, highlighting the urgent need for government to take decisive action to deal with extortion related criminality. When delivering his statement on threats posed by extortion in the National Assembly on the 3rd of September this year, Minister of Police mentioned 4 provinces where township economic sabotage as a consequence of extortion is rife. And these are mainly Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Western Cape, and the Eastern Cape. According to the Minister of Police, these provinces carry 73% of crime levels in South Africa. The gravity of these crimes alone, including extortions, are of serious concern to government and must be dealt with immediately. In the context of the whole of government approach, the South African Police Service has initiated the signing of cooperative agreement with provincial and local governments, which includes operational plans that will provide details on the integration of resources against crime. In addition, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, extortion and kidnapping task forums have been established in all these affected provinces, which involve all relevant stakeholders, including private businesses. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, on the implementation of measures to deal with sabotage of basic service delivery such as water and sanitation by unscrupulous owners of water tankers, the Department of COGTA is assisting struggling municipalities with water tankers as a short-term intervention, while bulk water infrastructure challenges are being resolved. In addition to a challenge of construction mafias, which is rife all over the country, we have received reports of unscrupulous owners of water tankers who are interfering with service delivery initiatives in many municipalities, thus extorting money to rent their services, and some selling water to vulnerable communities. As I conclude, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, we are particularly encouraged by the work of CPFs, our Community Policing Forum, work of whistleblowers and community members who are actively involved in addressing service delivery-related acts of criminality and extortion across all provinces that have been identified in hotspots areas. However, much more needs to be done to resolve this challenge. It is something that it's new in what the police have been dealing with, but at the moment, as I speak to you, they are on the ground. The Minister of Police indicated to me they started in the Western Cape. I think we saw them signing a deal with various other organs, and they'll move to Gqeberha, and they'll be moving to all other areas. I think if we move with speed, we should be able to deal decisively with extortion. But as I said, also this issue of water tankers, we must also deal with it quickly. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. A follow-up question from Honorable Ngumalo.
Inkomu eka Deputy Chairperson andivushele eka Deputy President wa hina lwanga kona namuntlha lana. Honorable Deputy President, extortion, which is often disguised as a protection money or fees, has become a significant issue that threatens the country's township economy. It has unfortunately transcended to the sabotage of the delivery of services to communities by unscrupulous thugs who are increasingly threatening not only the lives of community but also the authority of the state. My question to you, Honorable President, has the government looked at taking decisive action against state-embedded actors such as Izinduna, councillors, chiefs and community forums that are aiding and abetting this tax through criminal demand for shares benefit from businesses? Township SMM is an even government infrastructure and service delivery project. I thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ngumalo. Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. Cancer, Honorable Ngumalo. The issue of the role of traditional leaders is very important. The advantage we have at the moment is that we have had a platform to engage with our traditional leaders. In fact, a week ago, I had a meeting with all the kings in Pretoria. One of my responsibilities from the president is to work with traditional leaders. Because you're quite right, if we don't work close with the traditional leaders, the scammers try to involve them in their extortionist method of working. So we are bringing them to our side because they also have challenges of water, service delivery in these areas. And in fact, when I went to meet with them, with Minister SABC as well recently, it was clear that the kings were very excited. We supported them setting up a King's Forum for the first time because they were saying, we want a proper platform to engage with government. So when we deal with extortionists, we must work with the traditional leaders, with the kings, to be able together to deal with these problems. So fortunately, I've not had a situation, Honorable Ngumalo, where it is rife that traditional leaders work with extortionists. But it's a danger if we don't intervene and make sure that the traditional leaders are closer to us. But it may well be that in some areas, the extortionists are trying to infiltrate areas and make traditional leaders think they are doing good. But I accept your concern, and I will make sure that as we go around the country looking at challenges to deal with traditional leaders, we close the gap quickly, that extortionists don't come in and pretend that they are doing good work. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from the Honorable Godsell.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Deputy President, extortion thrives where there is a lack of economic opportunity. On 4 September, government announced that it is addressing the root causes of extortion by inter alia, working closely with international partners to share intelligence, to track criminal networks, and to bring offenders to justice. Deputy President, my question to you is, why are we outsourcing the work of crime intelligence?
Thank you very much, Honorable Godsell. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. Honorable Godsell, the approach that we use, and I'm sure I'm correct about this, is that we collaborate. It's not good for any government to outsource intelligence, but it's also, I think, prudent for government to be able to tap into the expertise of other sources in its operations as we deal with and looking at intelligence. We have a lot of good cooperation with a number of countries because, as you know, when you deal with crime is not just within our boundaries. It goes beyond our boundaries, and therefore I support collaboration beyond boundaries, but with the private sector as well. The private sector in our country has a lot of capacity to do intelligence work and so on, but certainly government will not privatize its responsibility to deal with intelligence, to be able to protect economic activity. That is something that we regard as our serious responsibility. You will recall, Honorable Godsell, that the President has taken a decision, in fact, to bring intelligence to the presidency. That's where it is now. The minister dealing with state security is in the presidency, because we want to make sure that the presidency has understanding of the whole country, has information, what is happening, and we will guard that information jealously. We will not privatize our role there, but we have to collaborate there and tap on the expertise of others. Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from the Honorable Farmer.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Can we agree that you won't rule me out of order this time? Because it's basically the same question, it's just a slight twist. Whether the government has any urgent, decisive measures to prevent the township economy be taken over totally by foreigners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Farmer. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Farmer. I think it's not the same question. Yes, I think this is something that everybody is asking themselves. I mean, we all have been looking at what's happening in Soweto, especially with this problem of children being sold food that makes them sick, and some have even died. The Minister of Small Business Development, the Minister of Health, recently gave a press briefing. I don't know if honorable members saw them. They gave a press briefing about what government is doing. So we are intervening to make sure that people who sell food in schools, they are properly regulated. There are also people who sell food somewhere in the streets where schools have no control. And that's where we want the community to be very vigilant to look into that. Because if you have to own even a spaza shop in South Africa, you must be registered so that we know who you are, what are you selling, do you have a license. So, Honorable Farmer, I agree that this is something that we must give priority to in our townships and everywhere else, because, sometimes you find these hawkers even in the towns selling things, they don't have licenses, and west they then sell products that shouldn't be sold. And it's not just to children. I was asking the Minister of Health recently, I said to him, this food that is being sold, why is it just affecting children? Because I don't think it's only children who eat these chips and stuff that they are selling. And the Minister of Health said, no, in fact, it's just that elderly people or adults have much stronger metabolism, etc. So they are not affected. But it means even us as adults, we may be eating this. But, children are younger and not stronger, so it affects them quickly. So the answer is, let's regulate. Government must not be lazy to regulate. It's our job. We must regulate. I know at some point we'll be accused of over-regulation, so we'll try and not over-regulate, but we must regulate. People must be able to buy proper food. Those who sell, it must be because they have a license to sell what they are selling. Yeah, and enforcement. Regulation and enforcement. In fact, the Minister of Health is going to revive getting these health inspectors going back. We need the health inspectors back, so we have agreed. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. We have the last but not least follow-up question from the Honorable Chirwa Mpongose.
Thank you so much, Deputy Chairperson. Greetings, Deputy President. I'm asking for the beautiful grace we just honored a honorable farmer with by Ukuntional Mbuzing now namhlanje. Given the recent focus on fast-tracking land claims and enhancing agricultural productivity, what specific actions will be taken to address situations like that of Ms. Rebecca Molefe, who was forcefully removed from agricultural land in October 2023 by Prestige Park to make way for a residential development? This is a case of land dispossession as new as 12 months ago in a supposed democratic dispensation. Ms. Molefe, who had lived and cultivated this land since 1955, was left destitute while the Department of Agriculture seemingly turned a blind eye and refused to assist us and the family when we reached out to them. I want to find out, Deputy President, what will be done to ensure protection for rightful landholders and provide immediate response and support to families that are displaced in similar cases,
Honourable
to uphold
Member,
food security and justice
Honourable
in
Member,
land reform.
If I may just remind you that your question is phased on the previous question and not the one that we are addressing right now.
Absolutely. I jumped on the bandwagon of the grace that was offered to Honorable Farmer to say, Deputy President, with absolute humility.
All right.
Please sense the absolute humility. I'm coming to you forthwith
I'll
to
allow
ask
the
for
Deputy President to
imvume.
decide
Nalo
whether
moyo
he wants
muhle owunike
to,
Honorable Farmer ukuthi
whether
nathi
he wants
usinike lowo
to
moyo
answer the
muhle.
question or not. Thank you very much.
Ngiyabonga, Deputy President.
Please take your seat. Honorable Deputy President, if you want to respond, you may.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. I thought as much when you started talking that you seem to have missed the boat. Yes. But if I may say, if I forgive you because you are young, if I may then take an opportunity to answer you that indeed we don't want anybody to be just willy-nilly removed. Because this program of giving people land is very important. We must protect it. In fact, when I spoke in the National Assembly recently, and interestingly, the question was asked by the EFF. No, it was, in fact, it was not the EFF. I think it was MK Party. Yeah. Wait. Let me answer here. So I then said in the National Assembly, the struggle in our country has always been a struggle for land. You can say anything else you think of, but the struggle has always been the struggle for land. So we take this issue of land distribution, restitution very seriously. So, Honorable Chirwa, so if people are given land, we must protect that. To the extent that you have noticed that in some parts of our country, somebody else have been removed unfairly, and so on. Let's get that information so we can intervene and sort it out, because this is a very important issue for government. Next time, make sure you are in the house when the right question has been dealt with.
It was actually not our mistake, Deputy President. It's the table that receives names.
No, Honourable
I was
Member,
meant
you are
to
out
do a
of
follow-up
order.
on number 5, and I took number
You
6.
are out
But
of
this
order,
situation,
Honourable
Deputy
Member.
President, it was important. Siyabonga kakhulu.
No, you must
Siyabonga.
not do that in the House. Honourable Member, yesterday I advised you.
Yeah.
Now you're doing the same thing again, and you are not supposed to be doing that.
Yes, I thought she was not in the house, but maybe she was. But Honorable Chairperson, yes, was she the last person? Yes. Oh, yes. So let me take this opportunity to. I know that I may not have an opportunity to answer questions this year, and since I don't have another session with the NCOP. Let me take the opportunity to thank all of you, honorable members, and wish you well as you go to holidays to spend time with your families. I have had good time with you this year. I don't know, maybe next year you'll be rougher. But I always enjoy coming to the NCOP. Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. That's why you're not rough.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. Honourable members, if you could take your seats for a few minutes, I just have an announcement. Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. I can assure you that in this House you are always welcome, and you will very often get a good reception. I can assure you of that. Thank you very much. Honourable colleagues, it has been brought to my notice that our colleague, Honourable Boshoff, has lost her husband this morning, and it is very sad that I inform you of this, of the demise of Mr. Boshoff. And on behalf of all of us here, I will convey our condolences to the Boshoff family and pray that our Lord will comfort them during this sad time. I've taken the liberty to write a letter of condolence on behalf of all of us, which I will give to Honorable Badenhorst to convey to the family. There's been a request from Honorable Boshoff that she will not take any phone calls during the next 2 or 3 days, and we can understand that, and let's respect that. Thank you very much, honorable delegates. Honorable Deputy President, once again, thank you very much, and I want to thank all MECs that would have joined us, permanent delegates as well as special delegates and representatives of SALGA who have been with us. Thank you very much, ma'am. And honorable delegates, that closes the business of the day. The House is now adjourned.